These are the dumbest ways these high rollers plummeted from riches to rags. But what exactly led to their astonishing downfalls? Stick around and we'll jump into their unbelievable stories. In the world of high-stakes investment, few stories are as emblematic of ambition's double-edged sword as that of Guy Hands, the mastermind behind Terra Firma. Hands, known for his bold strategies in private equity, carved out a reputation as a financial maverick. His journey to the pinnacle of the investment world was marked by a series of audacious moves, each cementing his status as a titan in his field. Terra Firma, under Hands' leadership, became synonymous with aggressive, high-yield investments. Hands' philosophy was simple yet daring. Identify undervalued assets, inject capital, and flip them for significant profit. This approach catapulted Terra Firma into the upper echelons of private equity firms, and Hands into the spotlight as an investment virtuoso. However, the very traits that propelled Hands to success, audacity and a penchant for risk-taking, also set the stage for his most notorious gamble, the acquisition of EMI, a storied music label. In 2007, Terra Firma bought EMI for a staggering £4.2 billion, a deal largely fueled by debt. Hands envisioned transforming EMI, then struggling, into a profitable venture. The plan was ambitious, tapping into EMI's rich music catalog and legacy, betting on a revival of its fortunes. But the script did not unfold as Hands had hoped. The global financial crisis of 2008 dealt a severe blow to the music industry, and EMI's revenues plummeted. The digital revolution in music consumption further eroded EMI's traditional business model. Hands' strategy of debt-fueled acquisition, which had worked wonders in the past, backfired spectacularly. By 2011, Terra Firma was unable to meet its debt obligations, and EMI was seized by its creditors. This downfall was more than a financial blow. It was a reminder of the perils of over-leveraging in business. The EMI debacle underscored the risk inherent in heavy borrowing, especially in volatile markets. From Guy Hands' high-flying deals gone wrong, and next up is Barney Curley. Does his gamble on the racetracks pay off better? Barney Curley's story is a roller coaster ride through the highs and lows of gambling, a tale that takes us deep into the heart of betting's most thrilling and perilous aspects. Known for his audacious gambling exploits, Curley wasn't just a gambler, he was a legend in the racing world, a man whose name became synonymous with some of the most daring bets in the history of horse racing. Curley's journey into the world of high-stakes gambling began with a deep understanding of horse racing, an arena he mastered like few others. His bets were not mere chance, they were meticulously planned, with each horse, each race, and each odd calculated with precision. Curley's strategy often involved long-term planning, sometimes spanning months, to prepare for a single day of massive wins. This approach led to legendary victories, with some days seeing him take millions from bookmakers. However, the world of gambling is as unpredictable as it is enticing. The very nature of betting, a world where fortune can turn on a dime, eventually caught up with Curley. Despite his strategic genius, there were days when the odds didn't favor him, when the horses he banked on didn't cross the finish line first. The losses, though not often highlighted, were as much a part of his story as the wins. Major losses in gambling, even for a seasoned bettor like Curley, are inevitable, and they come with heavy financial and emotional tolls. The lesson in Barney Curley's tale is clear. The world of gambling, for all its allure and potential for monumental wins, is fraught with risks. It's a world where fortunes can be made and lost in the blink of an eye, a reality that even the most successful gamblers cannot escape. Barney Curley's betting game was wild, but wait till you see Nick Leeson's risky business moves. How far can one go in the finance world? Nick Leeson's tale is a dramatic saga of ambition, unchecked speculation, and a catastrophic downfall that shook the very foundations of the financial world. His story is not just about personal failure, but also about the systemic vulnerabilities of the banking sector. Leeson started his career at Barings Bank, one of Britain's oldest and most prestigious banking institutions, with a relatively modest role. However, his sharp acumen and apparent understanding of the market quickly elevated him through the ranks. His initial success came from profitable trades, earning him the trust of his superiors and virtually unchecked autonomy in his operations. Stationed in Singapore, Leeson was tasked with heading Barings futures trading on the Singapore International Monetary Exchange. Here, he began to engage in speculative trading, particularly in futures contracts. Initially, these trades seemed profitable, masking the risks they entailed. Leeson's gambles appeared to be paying off, and Barings reaped the benefits, attributing a significant part of their profits to his trading activities. However, the reality was much grimmer. Leeson was engaging in unauthorized trading activities, and his risky maneuvers started to backfire. Instead of reporting these losses, Leeson hid them in a secret account, codenamed 88888. As the losses grew, so did the stakes, with Leeson making increasingly risky trades in a desperate attempt to recover. By the end of 1994, the losses had ballooned to hundreds of millions of pounds. The final blow came in 1995 when Leeson placed a massive bet that the Japanese stock market would not move significantly overnight. Unfortunately, this coincided with the Kobe earthquake, causing a market collapse. The losses were now impossible to hide, amounting to over $1 billion. This staggering sum was more than the bank's available capital, leading to the unthinkable, the collapse of Barings Bank, an institution that had survived for over 2 centuries. After Nick Leeson's dramatic downfall, we've got Scott Tucker. Fast cars and quick cash. But at what cost? Scott Tucker's story, a blend of high-speed racing success and a payday lending empire, serves as a stark warning about the consequences of flouting legal and ethical standards in business. His journey from a racing and business prodigy to a convicted felon underscore the importance of adhering to lawful and ethical practices. Tucker's business venture paralleled his racing career's velocity, achieving immense success in the payday lending industry. He founded companies offering short-term, high-interest loans, capitalizing on the demand for such services. This business model led to rapid wealth accumulation, enabling Tucker to pursue his racing passion, where he achieved notable victories and respect in the racing world. However, Tucker's payday lending practices were mired in legal and ethical controversies. His firms charged exorbitant interest rates, sometimes over 700% annually, leading to intense scrutiny from authorities. These practices not only raised ethical concerns, but also violated state and federal laws. As legal challenges mounted, the integrity of Tucker's empire came into question. Investigations exposed deceptive practices, including exploiting Native American tribes to circumvent regulations. In 2017, Tucker faced the consequences of his actions, convicted of operating an illegal lending enterprise, racketeering, and other charges, resulting in a 16-year prison sentence. This marked a dramatic fall from his previous life of luxury. Scott Tucker's story was a wild ride. Now let's see how Alan Stanford's big scheme pans out. Is bigger always better? Alan Stanford's story encapsulates the catastrophic fall from billionaire financier to convicted felon, epitomizing the severe consequences of financial fraud. His rise and subsequent downfall serve as a stark warning about the dangers of greed and deception in the financial world. Stanford's ascent in the banking and investment sectors was remarkable. He founded the Stanford Financial Group, quickly transforming it into a global financial giant. Known for his flamboyant lifestyle and philanthropy, Stanford built an image of a successful, benevolent billionaire, garnering awe and admiration. However, beneath this facade, Stanford was orchestrating a massive Ponzi scheme, uncovered in 2009. His firm sold certificates of deposit from his Antiguan bank, promising high returns. These returns, however, were funded not through successful investments, but by capital from new investors, a classic characteristic of a Ponzi scheme. Over 2 decades, Stanford's fraud amounted to approximately $7 billion, ranking among the largest Ponzi schemes. This revelation had a seismic impact, with countless investors from various backgrounds becoming victims of his elaborate fraud. Stanford's conviction in 2012 on multiple charges, including fraud and conspiracy, resulted in a 110-year prison sentence. The impact of his actions was profound, with many investors losing their savings and enduring significant financial and emotional distress. Alan Stanford's tale was a shocker, but Sean Quinn's story, it's a whole different game of risk and loss. Sean Quinn's story, from Ireland's richest man to bankruptcy, is a vivid portrayal of the highs and lows in the world of business and finance, highlighting the risks of high-stakes investments and market volatility. Quinn's journey began from humble beginnings, establishing a small quarrying operation in the 1970s. His entrepreneurial spirit led to the expansion into various sectors, including insurance, real estate, and manufacturing. His conglomerate, Quinn Group, became a major force in Ireland, earning him significant wealth and the title of Ireland's richest man. Quinn's success was a testament to his business acumen and the potential for growth across diverse industries. However, the 2008 financial crisis signaled a dramatic downturn in Quinn's fortunes. Central to his collapse was a substantial investment in Anglo-Irish Bank, one of Ireland's largest banks, through high-risk contracts for difference, or CFDs. This move, initially a strategic gamble on rising stock prices, backfired disastrously as the crisis unfolded, with the bank's shares crashing and Quinn's investments plummeting in value. The losses Quinn faced were monumental. His significant stake in the bank, once worth billions, rapidly lost its value. This financial disaster led to the disintegration of his business empire, burdened by insurmountable debts. By 2011, the enormity of these losses forced Quinn into bankruptcy, erasing his wealth almost overnight. Sean Quinn faced a market crash, but the next is Elizabeth Holmes. Her journey is something else. What happens when a dream turns into a deception? Elizabeth Holmes' rise and fall in the health technology sector is a striking tale of ambition, deception, and the critical need for transparency in business. Her story with Theranos underscores the risks of misleading claims in the competitive startup world. Holmes founded Theranos in 2003, aiming to revolutionize blood testing with technology that purportedly required only a few drops of blood from a finger prick. This groundbreaking claim propelled Holmes and Theranos into the spotlight, with the company's value soaring to $9 billion. Holmes, celebrated as a young, self-made female billionaire, became an icon of innovation and entrepreneurial success. However, this success was built on a foundation of falsehoods. Investigations revealed that Theranos' technology was fundamentally flawed and unreliable. The company, which had promised a medical revolution, faced serious scrutiny for the accuracy and safety of its tests. The unraveling of Theranos began when regulatory agencies intervened, leading to an avalanche of legal challenges. Holmes was accused of orchestrating massive fraud, misleading investors, patients, and the medical community about her technology's capabilities. In 2018, the company collapsed, and Holmes was subjected to criminal charges and a high-profile trial. The saga of Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos is a sobering reminder of the necessity for honesty and transparency in business, particularly in sectors as vital as healthcare. Her story illustrates the danger of over-promising results and the responsibility entrepreneurs have to their stakeholders. It also highlights the need for thorough due diligence and oversight in the startup environment, where the excitement of innovation should not overshadow the requirement for factual and reliable claims. Holmes' narrative emphasizes that integrity and trust are indispensable in the business world, and their absence can lead to not only personal downfall but also widespread adverse consequences. After Elizabeth Holmes' story, next is Jordan Belfort, the real Wolf of Wall Street. How wild can Wall Street get? Jordan Belfort's tale, famously known as the Wolf of Wall Street, is a dramatic chronicle of financial misconduct and its severe consequences. His transition from a reputable stockbroker to a convicted felon starkly highlights the dangers of unethical financial behavior. In the late 1980s, Belfort established Stratton Oakmont, a brokerage firm notorious for its aggressive sales methods and unethical practices. Under his guidance, the firm orchestrated a pump-and-dump scheme, grossly inflating the stock prices of worthless companies and offloading them to unwary investors at inflated prices. This strategy quickly built immense wealth for Belfort and his team, fueling an opulent lifestyle marked by excessive spending. However, Stratton Oakmont's market manipulations soon attracted regulatory attention. The National Association of Securities Dealers, later known as FINRA, started monitoring the firm's operations in the late 1980s. The firm increasingly faced legal challenges, and by the mid-1990s, authorities like the SEC began intensifying their investigations, leading to criminal charges against Belfort. In 1999, Belfort pleaded guilty to securities fraud and money laundering, resulting in a prison sentence and a mandate to compensate his scheme's victims. His actions had extensive repercussions, leaving numerous investors with significant losses. Jordan Belfort's tale was crazy, but Bernie Madoff's scam is next level. What's the real cost of a financial illusion? Bernie Madoff's journey from a lauded financier to the mastermind of one of history's largest financial frauds is a stark narrative of deception and its devastating aftermath. His story, marked by duplicity and betrayal, highlights the severe consequences of financial fraud. Madoff began his financial career with Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities, LLC in 1960. Evolving from a modest penny stock trading firm to a significant player in market making. As a pioneer in electronic trading, he played a key role in developing NASDAQ and was once its chairman, earning respect for his innovative approaches. However, Madoff's reputation masked a colossal Ponzi scheme. For years, he used new investors' capital to pay returns to earlier investors, creating the illusion of a successful investment strategy. This deception, undetected for decades, allowed him to falsely assure investors of consistently high returns. The extent of Madoff's fraud was staggering, involving an estimated $65 billion. His victims ranged from individual investors to major charities, many of whom faced severe financial hardship as a result. The 2008 financial crisis triggered the unraveling of Madoff's scheme, as plunging markets led investors to seek withdrawals, revealing the insolvency of his operations. In December 2008, Madoff's confession to his sons, followed by their notification to the authorities, exposed the magnitude of his fraud. The fallout was immense, sending shockwaves across the financial sector. In 2009, Madoff was convicted on multiple counts of fraud and sentenced to 150 years in prison. Madoff's saga was huge, but now it's Bud Post's turn. What happens when a regular guy hits the jackpot? William Bud Post's tale exemplifies the dangers that can follow a sudden windfall, as seen in his remarkable shift from an ordinary individual to a millionaire and then back to financial struggle. His experience after winning $16.2 million in the Pennsylvania lottery in 1988 offers a vital lesson in the prudent management of unexpected wealth. Post's fortune quickly turned into a cautionary story about the risks of sudden riches. Accustomed to financial hardship, he was ill-prepared for the responsibility that came with his newfound wealth. His inexperience in managing finances led to a series of unwise investments and expenditures. The situation worsened as Post became the target of opportunists. Family, friends, and acquaintances, attracted by his wealth, pressured him into sharing his fortune. Yielding to these demands, he indulged in extravagant spending, including purchasing an airplane, despite his inability to fly it. This reckless spending rapidly depleted his lottery winnings, and by 1993, only a few years after his win, Post was deep in debt and living on a disability pension. Reflecting on his experiences, Post expressed regret over his lottery win, likening it to a nightmare. These tales of the dumbest high rollers have shown us how quickly fortunes can turn when mishandled. For more insights into wealth's fickle nature, watch Dumbest Ways Lottery Winners Went Broke 2023. Dive into these stories of misfortune and learn how even the largest windfalls can evaporate without smart management.